Hello and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. This is part of the Just Cards video hop, and this month's theme is flowers. And I was really excited. I thought, ooh, I'll be able to do 2 quick cards for you. Well, that didn't work out. So we're going to do one, and it's going to be with the Concord and Ninth floral fill-ins, the papers and stencils. So if you didn't want a stamp, you wouldn't have to. And they have 2-sided papers, as you can see, and the stencils all just fit right on the paper. You just line them up, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you can get a lot of different looks, all with the 1 pack of paper. And the instruction sheet even has paper on the back, so you can use that if you want. So I'm just going to tape down the stencil. I picked this one because since it's card size, I thought, well, I can split it in 2 and get a 2 for that anyway. So I'm going to tape it down with this fabulous purple tape, and I decided to cover up the flowers that are not going to appear on this particular sheet with some of that tape. And I went from my blending tools to daubers because my first one, my practice run, I kind of slid off into the unknown paper there. No. The main thing that you want to take care of is you want to start with your dauber on the stencil plastic and slide into it. And that's that way with all stencils. That way you don't have as much bleeding underneath. And it kind of, it also kind of takes the heaviest of the pigment off of the end of the dauber, so you don't have marks. So I'm just kind of tapping around. It doesn't have to be perfect because that just gives it a little bit of texture. Now I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put on the second stencil, which has a little bit of detail. And it takes a second for me to flip it around and find, there we go. And you know what's funny is that it doesn't even have to be perfectly lined up, which is kind of why I like it. Things should be easy, not stressful. This is supposed to be fun. And any little mistakes, nobody's going to know. They're just going to think you're fabulous for making them a card. And now I've got the picked raspberry, and I'm just going to do the same thing, come from the outside in and get those details. Now, you got to be careful not to get your hand in the paint or it winds up on other things later. I cross-contaminate a lot of paper and have to redo. So anyway, I work in the dark, and I do apologize for the lighting. I'm working on it. I bought 2 new lights. I got another camera setup thing, and I have to turn off my overhead lights. So everything's dark beside me, and I picked up what I think was the wrong ink, but it worked out okay. And here's the final result. Isn't that pretty? And that was really easy. Now, I couldn't really cut the paper right down the middle because, well, that would be boring. And I wanted to use this for 2 cards. So I decided to measure it off. Oh, I think I did about 4 inches over. And then I'm just cutting off just a sliver off of the side that doesn't have any color on it. And then I'm going to tape down this die. Then I die cut it, and then I flipped it and made it so that it would round off at the top because there really wasn't a die long enough to do that. And then I die cut the U from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to deal with that in a little bit. I'm just going to build my card here for a minute. And this is Nina, 110-pound white card. I'm not exactly sure what the pink is from. So I'm kind of figuring out if I want the pink to show on the side or not. And I decide I do. So I get out my Fawn glue tube because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And I always like to have an out. And I line it up. Now I had to avert a crisis because I was down to my last piece of black cardstock. So I decided to just emboss my die cut there to give it a little bit of volume instead of stacking up 4 or 5 layers of black. So I just used the VersaMark clear sticky ink and clear embossing powder, and I dipped it 3 times and got it nice and thick and shiny. Now I'm taking my Nuvo glitter pen. Now you've got to be very careful because since these are distress inks, they react to water. And of course there's water in these pens. So and you don't want to smear. So you want to be very careful. Unless you put the glaze over it, you need to not shove that around. And then I take my glue tube and I just glue the die cut down. Once I figure out a way to pick it up. And then I just let that dry. Now you're going to see that I used some silver Nuvo drops there, but that beautiful bean footage was lost. I had the camera apparently on pause. So I didn't want to screw up the card and I wanted to put a little sentiment there, but the sentiment had a U in front of the rest of the words and I didn't want it to say you make everything better or whatever it says. I can't remember. You bring out the beauty in everything. So I just taped it off, and I would never do this without a MISTI tool because you don't have a second chance. And I'm using VersaFine Onyx black ink. And the other beauty of the MISTI is that you can hit it again if you want to. So I do. And then you just peel the tape off. Now I noticed the tape kind of covered it. So you just get out your little micron pen and fix it. And there you go. So here's the finished card. I hope you enjoyed this speedy little tutorial. It was a lot of fun to do, even though it had its ups and downs. And I hope that you will go to the other stops on the hop and hit like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to have you. And we'll see you again next month with the hop, but I'll be back next week with another tutorial. And you have a fabulous day. Bye-bye. Oh, and at the end, there are a couple of videos that I think you might be interested in.